Hi, I'm Josh from Zenatta Consulting. This is a tutorial on how to create custom reports in Zoho Creator. If you find this video useful, please consider liking and subscribing below. Thank you and enjoy. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right on into it. Inside of Creator, I've gone ahead and created a custom application that we'll use to demo this today. And essentially, I want to create a custom report. Within Creator, when you create a form, by default, you are always given a report to show you all of those records. And when we're talking about reports in Creator, all it is just a list of form entries. So whenever you create a form, by default, you get a report that goes along with it, and it's to show you all of the records within that form. But there's often cases where you want to create multiple different reports. Maybe one stakeholder needs to see this information, certain information, but another stakeholder within the company needs to see an entirely different set of information. You can also use reports to display action items, actionable items. Maybe all of the records within a certain view would need to be actionable, so you might want to put a button on those reports. And there's a lot of different things we can use reports for. Today, I just want to show you how to create the report and then what are some ways we can kind of push the limits of these reports. To create a report, certainly we need to get into the editor. So I go into Edit This Application. And then let's go ahead and look at the back end here. So I want to create a report, and what I want to do is I want to basically replicate this My Tasks report here. So this is a list of all of the open items that need to be completed, and we can either mark them as open or reopen them. Mark them as closed, or reopen them. I want to basically recreate this, but let's go ahead and just not show the close. So we're going to have a filtered list to only show my open tasks. So let's go ahead and create that report. To do so, I go in and click Add New, and we're going to create a report. When we create a report, we have a few different options as far as what the type of report we can display. We certainly have a list. That's the most generic and most often used report type. We can also create other types of reports such as charts, pivot tables, spreadsheets. Pivot table and pivot chart, these actually use the analytics builder. Zoho Analytics has a very similar builder that Zoho Creator uses, and it allows you to really manipulate the data and pull that in, and it shows live, so you don't have to wait for a refresh over into Zoho Analytics to use this. Spreadsheets is a nice option. This would allow you to open up a report and live edit any records right there without having to open up the record to edit it. You can just open it or just to edit the value directly from the spreadsheet. There's a limitation on this though. You cannot have any workflow rules running on a spreadsheet or on a form if you want to use a spreadsheet, there can't be any workflow rules on that form. So that is one caveat, and it's a pretty big limitation because most forms in Creator use those workflow rules. So not being able to use a workflow rule is a big limitation. We also have Kanban view. Kanban, however you like to say it. That is an option in Creator. You can choose any of the fields to categorize by. So maybe it's a status field, maybe it's an owner field. You have a few different options there. Calendar and timeline, this is kind of getting into certainly calendaring, and you have a calendar option, but you also have like a Gantt chart style report. It's not quite Gantt chart, it's still just a calendar, but timeline would give you a little bit more view on when times start. So having a time field on a record is certainly needed for a timeline. And then map. If you have an address on the form and you want to display that address within a map, that is also an option here. I'm going to go ahead and just create a list because that is just what we want to show today, is just a list of records. But certainly all those others are options. We're going to base this report on the tasks form, and I'm going to name this report My Open Tasks. Let's go ahead and create. Now that we've created the report, it is bare bones. Sorry, it's not bare bones. It does come pre-built with a few fields, but there's no customization has been done yet. There's no filtering on it. We haven't customized any of the columns yet, so let's go ahead and first start with the filter. So to do that, we're going to open up Report Properties, and here we can add a filter. Click Add Filter, and in here we certainly only want to see the open tasks. So if status equals open, and I only want to see my records. Because I have created a field in here, so all these tasks are assigned to users. So we have a user that this is assigned to, and this is pulling in from our employees module here. So because we have an employees module and those employees are linked to these tasks, I can grab the email address of an employee, of the logged in user, and if that logged in user is an employee and there's tasks associated to that employee, I'll be able to filter on those. So what I just said basically is I can search for any of the tasks assigned to an employee that has the same email address that I've logged in as. And to do that, we come into our filters and we can look at any of the fields associated to the assigned to field. So this assigned to field is a lookup field on the task, and because it's a lookup field, I can pull in any of these fields to set my criteria. In this case, I want to see only the ones where the assigned to email equals Zoho.login user ID. Zoho.login user ID is one of those key variables on the back end that Zoho allows you to use, and all that's going to do is give you the logged in user's email address. Login user ID gives you the email address. If I were to just do Zoho.login user, that would give me the profile name. Email address is generally the better one to use, so I usually just use Zoho.login user ID and compare that with the email address there. Now that is the criteria set, and that's going to show me only the open tasks where I am assigned. And by meaning it's the person who's logged in. So if I come over here into my report or into the application, let's just see what's happened. Where is that report? If I hover over tasks, I can see my open tasks does exist here. If I click on that, it's only showing my open task. So there's only one task, that status is open, and it is assigned to me. Now with the filter in place, let's customize this report. So let me show you the options we have here. Before I go in too far, there's a few different ways we can customize a report. We can customize the columns. Those are what the columns here you see. We can customize what is displayed there, the ordering. We can also customize the detail view. So whenever you click on a record, what do you see? So what fields would be visible there? And then last, we can do other report properties, such as grouping these records, sorting the records, and filtering. That is all done through this. So we have filtering, grouping, and sorting. We've already created a filter. A group would be, maybe you wanted to group things by their due dates. So things due on a certain day are grouped together. A grouping would basically just group them, and then you would see them in a group. If I come to my all tasks report, this is grouped by status. So we have our open tasks and then our closed tasks. So that's grouping. My open tasks view, I don't care about grouping this, so I'm actually just going to turn that one off. Sorting is just like it sounds. You just are going to sort it based on whatever you want. So you can do due date. We can also put in multiple sorts. So maybe you want to sort by due date. You also want to sort by start date too. So you want to see the due. You can basically compound these sorts. So it's going to first sort by due date. Then if there's anything matching after that, it's going to sort by the start date. Next, we can do quick filters. Quick filters would allow you to create a filter that is, here, let me pick a better one. So let's say we wanted to do status as a quick filter. When I look at this record now, there is a new option here called filters. And if I click on this, these are going to show me all of those quick filter fields that I can choose from. So it's just choosing a field, and then it's going to show you the options within that field, and then you can go ahead and quickly filter based on that field. You could also search and do a status contains this. So that's another way to do a filter. But sometimes quick filtering, it might be a little easier to get to. One that I use a lot more is custom filters. This would be to define a specific filter. And let's say maybe we want to say if deal, oh, sorry, I'm still inside of quick filters. Let's go into custom filters. That's what we want. If a deal, I guess I can't say, let's say subject. If subject contains Zenatta, then I want to see that in a custom filter. And let's just rename this. Okay. If I refresh my page now, you probably didn't see it, but there's now a little drop down where so you have your My Open Tasks, but then if I click the drop down here, it's going to show me all the custom filters that I've created. And we have one here for Zenatta tasks. If I click on it, it's going to go ahead and filter based on what I've defined within there. So note this is a filtering on whatever else has already been filtered. So it's only going to filter based on this view here. So if I only have one record in here, it's filtering based on this one record. So it's filtering down the chain, down the stream. So that's important to know. It's not going to just open up it's not going to show you based on your all tasks view. Whenever you filter, it's going to show you those records, and you can quickly uncheck that by clicking the X. We can add as many custom filters as you might want, and they'll automatically show you they'll automatically populate in the list. That list will automatically populate as soon as that criteria matches. So that's custom filters. Next, I want to show you really probably the meat of it is the data portion and how you view that data. So the first part is the columns. To edit the columns, we are going to go in and we choose layout, and the layout allows us to control the columns we see. So deal, status, subject. I can add additional fields in here. And I could also add fields from related records. So the lookup field for employee, maybe I wanted to show the email address of the employee. I could certainly do that. And that would also prove that this filter is working because it's only going to show me the records that are assigned to me. We could also pull in some system-defined fields, added user, added time, modified user, modified time, ID, and then we can also add buttons. Buttons are a really cool way to create actionable reports. So let me first go ahead and just add in a few system-defined fields because I like to see added user and added time. And after we add a field, we need to come in here and make sure it's visible. If it's not visible, you need to click the eyeball and make sure it is visible. You just click the whatever field you've added and just make sure it is selected here. Because this is my open task, I don't care to see the assigned to because I know it's assigned to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck that one. After I do that action, you notice there's a red asterisk here and I need to save these changes. So let's go ahead and save that because I want to make sure when I come back into this view or when someone else comes into this view, they're not going to see that. Be careful when you save those changes though, because if you've made any changes to your filtering, those changes will update into the filter settings. So just be really careful when you do save those changes. Next, we can customize what we see in this view here. So this is the detailed view. Go back into my editor and I go into, so we have a quick view, I go into detail view. And we have two different options. We can either do this standard view where it's going to show you just the fields within this one report. I don't know why they even have that option. I think this second option is the better option for all cases. I've never seen an option where this one's better. Zoho, if you see this video and you see if there's a reason for this first option, please let me know. I don't know why. It is system default to this option, but I always come in and I choose the second one. The reason why I choose the second one is because it gives you options to create related lists as well. So if I wanted to show information related to this task, I can do that through this option here. First, it's going to show me a section of information for this form, and then it's going to try to show me information related to it. So this is that lookup field and then some lookup information. I can also add other related blocks if there was anything related. Tasks, in this case, do have comments associated, so I do want to show comments on this report. And then let's also show added time and added user of that comment. Whenever you choose added time and added user, always be very careful to make sure you choose the system fields and not an added time or added user from one of the related records. So here I could have accidentally chosen the added time or added user of the task, but again, I want to show the added time and added user of the comment, not of the task, because I have the added user and time of the task above, but I want to show for the comment itself, when was that added. And so just always be careful to choose from the system defined fields when you want to show that information. Added time, added user, system defined fields. Let's just look at what we've done so far. I'm just going to click on this again and it's going to go ahead and refresh. There we go. Overview. It shows me the users that are assigned to this task. There could be multiple users assigned, so that's why it shows up as a list. There could be multiple in here. And then it also shows me any comments that are linked to this task. I can also click the plus button here to create any comments if there was a module linked to this record. You can click the plus button. when you click the plus button, it's going to go ahead and pre-populate the task with whatever the lookup field is. So it pre-populates that because it knows it's linked. So we have now a custom view. It's filtered, sorted. Some other things we can do to improve the actions or the UI within this is modifying the actions. So we have within our quick view, we have actions. And an action is whenever you either click on a record, if you right click, if you select the 3 dots over here, or if you select one or multiple. These actions, so for a single record, or sorry, at the top here, if you click on a record, are you going to view the record? Do you want to edit it, delete it, duplicate, do nothing? You can change these actions here. You can also create custom actions. So if you click on the record, maybe you want it to send an email, or maybe this specific report, if you click on the record, it's going to delete it or mark it as read. So there's a bunch of different ways you can customize these different actions to control the UI and the functionality of this report. The whole purpose of these reports is to improve functionality and to make these records actionable. So configuring these actions will certainly help you do that. So on click of a record, what's going to happen? Are we going to view or edit the record? Maybe I just want to go straight into editing the record. So that's a view, but maybe I just want to edit the record just by clicking it. That's one way to do it. I'm going to make that back into view. For a single record, what else do we want to do? So we could, if we select the 3 dots, what's going to happen? For right-clicking and for multiple records. So you can see how we can create custom actions based on where we are clicking, and that is that. Other ways we can customize this, if you're on a mobile device, maybe you want different actions as well. So if you want to swipe left or swipe right, you get different actions. If you press for a long period of time, you can get different actions as well. All of those actions can also be customized independently for an iPad. So these reports, maybe a web user is going to operate this report much differently than a field agent would. So that's one way to customize the functionality of these reports, is just by customizing it per device. So we have actions. Actions can also live within the view or within the columns as well. So if I come in here and I add a field, I can add a field to this and create a button. Close task on condition, status equals, say status is not equal to closed. We're going to close this task if the status is not already closed, and we want to set a confirmation message. Close task. I'm going really fast here. We're going to create a deluge script. I could certainly run a function that I already have built out. I'm just going to create my own real quick. Input dot status equals closed. Save, exit, done, create. Now I've created a custom function on a button, and that button lives on as a field, really just a column on this report. When I refresh here, we'll see a button, close task. When I select this button, what we should expect to see is the task is going to be closed out, and it's going to be removed from this report because this report is only supposed to show me open tasks. So let's go ahead and click the close task. Here is a confirmation message like we had indicated. And I go ahead and select yes. It updates the task status to closed, and it is now off my list. That is the custom button. I could also throw that button. If I go back into the report editor and I go into actions, I can now throw that same action in any one of these other trigger points. So maybe I want that action to live anywhere in here. That is creating custom actions. Custom actions can go, sky's the limit, really. You can do so many cool things with custom actions, opening forms, triggering functions, triggering emails, notifications. The sky's the limit, really. So that is how you trigger those actions, how you create them, and then where you place them on the report is certainly going to aid in the functionality and the UI of this application. That is essentially all we have for reports. After we create the report, we want to make sure we also put that report in a intuitive place within the application. And to order the application, we just go into sections, and then we can move any of our reports within any one of these sections. If we hide the report, we can always get back into it by going down to hidden components, and then we can unhide those components. In this case, I just want to move this up to my open task at the top, and we are done. So if I go back in here, now I can see my open tasks. We're done for the day. It's empty. If I go into my tasks, I can see all of my tasks have been closed out. If I reopen a task and go into my open task, I can see it is back on my list. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell, which notifies you when we post our videos in the future. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave those in the comments below. We really appreciate those as it helps us get better. See you on our next video.